CRISPR Roots continues. This week, a lovely bluesy jazz album by Calvin Keys and Terrace Martin entitled The Far North Side. And Matt Mitchell Music Company, Obvious Euphoria. All right, how should I start? Where should I start? Which should I start with? Let's talk about Matt Mitchell Music Company. Now, this seems like a very local act from Spokane, Washington. All right. It's, I guess, I rummaged around this week's Americana releases and so on, and didn't find much that I really felt, including the new Sarah Jarosz, which I guess it was too smooth in a way, at a first listen, to get any real grip. Right? Didn't make me that pleased to see this development. But, okay, the opposite of that maybe is this Matt Mitchell person. All right. Now, I mean, it's a pleasant Americana album. I mean, I like the arrangements. I like the instrumentation. It's probably local, folk blues, country guys from Spokane, or people from Spokane, I would assume. All right, like a local Roots All-Star band, maybe? I don't know. Let's... Maybe that's how the band looks. And there's the album, Obvious Euphoria. All right. Now, one thing that's really interesting about Matt Mitchell, just Googling a little bit, is that he lives in a van, I believe. All right. And he sings about things like, or edging into homelessness, addiction, mental illness in a way, I don't know what his life has been like really, but that has more reality than most. I also think the songwriting is quite strong, although awkward at times, kind of like, and in this it reminds me a little bit of Prine or Lucinda Williams. Like, in a way, like, he gets into a mood where he just wants to say it, and it doesn't matter quite if the syllabification is perfect or if he's saying and not telling, or, if he's saying and not showing. So, but I like some of these songs quite a lot. Now, there have been a lot of songs about burning down your house or your boyfriend's house, if you're Miranda Lambert or whatever, or burning down your life. A lot of them talk about kerosene. This one seems more true to me in some way. And maybe it's a metaphor for the idea that of the decision, if it was a decision really, to live in his car. There's another song or two that engages that. But this is Kerosene by Matt Mitchell Music Company.
All my troubles, they're growing in the yard. Should've mowed last month, now I'm too afraid to start. All my worries, the dishes in the sink, I don't entertain these days. What would my friends think? But being alone ain't good for healing. Sharing space feels like a chore I ain't trying to deal with.
Or maybe I shouldn't be laughing or smiling. I mean, I guess if I'm smiling, I might be. If I'm laughing, I might be with a little discomfort. Like there's a nice folk song, but it has a seriously destructive quality to it, I think, or self-destructive. The performance, which is pretty light, not exactly lighthearted, but pretty light, contrasts with the heaviness of the lyrics. Let's try this one, which is less personal, maybe more political a little bit. It's one called Bootstrap Nation. And it's very Spokane. Is it Spokane? Fuck, it's Spokane, isn't it? Spokane! Spokane, Washington? I should have looked that up. Shit, okay, I think it's Spokane. I don't think I've ever been there either, so I don't know what I'm talking about really, but he does. I had to look this up. He keeps talking about a Corners in Spokane. 2nd and Division Street. I mean, the reason I realized he was from Spokane is because I was trying to Google up 2nd and Division. I was trying to think, 2nd and Division, that's the worst corner where? I was going like, oh, is that Nashville? That's Austin, isn't it? No, it's Spokane. So here's a little dose of Spokane and a dose of United States of America.
People stumbling around, breaking down against that wall. When the red light flashes at the intersection, you're gonna get your courtside seats. Fix your gaze in a far off direction, that's trouble you just don't need. Well, I guess that's the nature of the bootstrap nation, from the gutter to the pharmacy. Find yourself a means of exploitation. There ain't nothing you can't be. This American dream. This American dream. The Big Jack's boy was raised to be a baller. He could run, he could pass, he could throw. Working on the dreams of his washed up father was the only life he'd known. It was a terrible sight when in the glare of them lights they carted Jack's boy away. A brace on his neck, a cast on his arm, a bottle of pills to manage the pain. Well, I guess that's the nature of the bootstrap nation, from the gutter to the pharmacy. Find yourself a means of exploitation. There ain't nothing you can't be. This American dream.
All right, I would like to let that play. It's a pretty devastating song. There is a 7-Eleven at 2nd and Division in Spokane. All right. That's pretty specific. It's a little, okay, so, I wrote about Jelly Roll for the New York Times, and, my angle on this was like epidemic America, epidemics of homelessness and addiction specifically, and mental illness, and COVID and stuff. Jelly Roll's take on that, the songs are really very pointed, but the production is pretty smooth pop. It goes down easy, maybe a little too easy, but Bootstrap Nation doesn't go down quite so easy. All right. I'm debating which song here. Let's try Country Gonna Kill Me. That's a good theme. Country music gonna kill me. it'll kill you because it keeps you on the road for your whole life, and you playing county fairs and you're broke. Okay, the dream will kill you, of course, if you don't make it become a big star or whatever. But this just means that like everything in country music is gonna kill me. You know, all the smoking and drinking and loving and leaving and you know, the woman problems and everything that I read about, everything I heard about in country music. That's what's killing me now, I guess. So here's a little slice of that one. Beware.
And see, dead.
I can do it.
Country gonna kill me. Rough riding on the bench seat. Dead dog in the whiskey. Women, they don't love me. I'm living the life I'm singing about. I'm drinking and driving till the bus breaks down. Country gonna kill me. I was drinking at the pear tree. Big fella tried to tell me, son, you ain't even country. I spilled my beer all over his lap, and I showed him who's country when he kicked my ass.
Yeah. Now that's a scene right out of a David Allan Coe song, where someone comes up to you at your gig or something, or somewhere just on the street and goes, "You ain't country." Always a hard moment, right? David Allan Coe whips down on you, but Matt Mitchell gets whipped down on, right? But both of those are country, okay? And you know, I mean, the perfect code of the song is one thing I know. I don't know anything, but one thing I know is that they're going to be playing country music at my funeral. Okay, I'm sure he's specified that in his will. So like I say, I think he lives in his Toyota. And so he has this song called Captain Toyota. All right. This is a good one, I think. This is a really good song, I think. Reminds me a little of something like someone could record this beautifully, like Elle King, who's in trouble right now. I still love her though. Come on, Elle. You can do better by Dolly. But like Elle King's beautiful rendition of Tyler Childers' Jersey Giant. Elle King could record this song too. I like Captain Toyota. Maybe it shouldn't be Elle. No.
Please don't ask me about how I'm doing. I've been getting on, I've been getting through it. I took a turn down a real dark road, but my lights are on and my tank is full. Somehow this rig just keeps going. Out here adrift on the asphalt ocean, falling asleep to that highway commotion. Sounds a lot like the ocean to me. I am the captain of an old Toyota. I've got friends everywhere I go, but most of the time I'm out here alone. You gotta give up a lot to be free. Cutting through the fog on a real dark night. I've been keeping the faith, I've been riding the line. I've been pissing in a bottle trying to make good time. I got nowhere to be, I can't wait to arrive. Somehow this rig just keeps going. Out here adrift on the asphalt ocean, falling asleep to that highway commotion. Sounds a lot like the ocean to me.
Right, what a good song, I think. You know, a solid good song, but plus representing real experience. All right, Matt Mitchell Music Company. Something I hadn't heard of course. Spokane. All right, one thing I'm doing, as I feel my way around here, especially as I'm not necessarily finding, 6 Americana albums I love right now or something, or didn't love the blues crop this week or whatever, is talk about the limits of what I mean by roots or whatever, just for the hell of it, expansively. So let's go in the jazz direction, all right, with Calvin Keys and Terrace Martin. This is small combo jazz of a kind that, very similarly could have been recorded was in the 50s and 60s. Like small combo swing, I guess, but not horn oriented, guitar oriented in this case, and piano. All right. So I don't know, again, like what roots music is. I know this sounds old timey. And another thing it sounds is, I don't mean to dismiss it in that way because I find it delightful, man. It's so pleasant and beautifully played. It's bluesy. It swings easy, but it has a lot of blues at the bottom. And I didn't get that far in jazz, maybe. I kept bogging down in my attempts to survey the history of jazz. Late bop, maybe, is about as far as I get in some ways. But how about like some, like the Horace Silver albums in the early 60s? Or, man, I don't know. Or a lot of that piano jazz music, like Phineas Newborn, or that maintains its connection with the blues. Now, Calvin Keys was Ahmad Jamal's guitar player for quite a while, and a really interesting solo artist too. Initially on the sort of classic Oakland, California jazz label Black Jazz. Very interesting albums. So he's been around a long time. That was 70s, one or something, that when he started with that. But this is bluesier and more swinging than Ahmad Jamal, really. In a way, I think in this case, he's pulling back to just what I want to do, how I want to feel tonight. You know what I mean? Like, let me just play. I'm going to enjoy it. And Terrace Martin, I don't know that much about contemporary jazz, okay? I just don't. So, sue me or whatever. But Terrace Martin put out 4 albums last year in 23. Wide variety of stuff, man. Actually, I haven't really surveyed his oeuvre, and he's a producer for everyone, too. All kinds of big pop and hip-hop acts, right? And a writer and a rapper. And I have this funny feeling that what he's doing on this record with maybe one of his heroes or whatever is, or just someone he knows, like a mentor or something, is maybe playing all or many of the instruments around the guitar to frame the guitar, quietly frame the guitar. Martin is a horn player, but I guess whoever's playing the piano here is the main foil. The drums. Okay, maybe Martin's playing the drums. I think he might be a drummer. I'm not sure. I should have tried to figure out this personnel. It's not that easy to find out about this album right now online. But the drumming is juicy, man. Just in the slot, right? It's like, I don't know. So this is kind of a quiet album. It's not that it killed me or whatever. I just was a little intrigued by the cover. And should I show you the cover? And all right. Kind of old man playing guitar, but in a psychedelic garden or something. And I just realized as I let it play that I just wanted to let it play. Like, it was just lovely. So here's, maybe it reminds me a little of Wes Montgomery. But it's well, I'll talk about that in a second because they both recorded the song Cottontail, the great Duke Ellington song, for example. And actually, the comparison is instructive, but and I'm not going to play the Wes Montgomery, but the well, I'll start here, I guess. The so he's not really Calvin Keys is not really trying to play. He's not trying to show you how fast he can play and stuff like this. And I'm not really accusing Wes Montgomery of that either. He was just a technical wizard as well as a juicy ass player, right? Of course, you know, but and smooth as he wanted to be. All right. This is a little rougher. It's not as virtuoso, but maybe it brings out the quality of the music, Ellington's composition, just a little bit more effectively, actually. Listen to that bass thump, though. All right, just like a sweet semi-improvisation on a classic, you know, on a standard. And there's a few of those in here. And like I say, I love the sound. Let's try this thing. I think it's the original composition called Potholes. This is a real cute song. Well, it's building like almost like a classical composition, you know, and variation, theme and variations, in a very creative, you know, like really precise yet really loose way. and also, like I say, I like the retention of the connection to the blues, which you can hear underneath all these songs, I think, except the last one called The Near North Side, the title cut, which puzzles me a little bit because it's more like smooth post-bop or something. Okay, so it seems a little out of place. The title cut seems a little out of place. But a lot of these things have that kind of connection to the underlying blues structure that I always appreciate. That's what I love about Thelonious Monk, let's say, okay? Like the real experimental, like real radical in its way, like Lord knows what the technical stuff is, but always with a little swing and a little blues. And, so names like Ramsey Lewis comes up when you're talking about Calvin Keys. Names like maybe even Count Basie, right? That's a little Basie bop underneath there. Like that runs deep. So I appreciated that. All right. These are two interesting albums in different ways. This is one where I'm just going, here's one and here's another, though. All right, that was that number 6. They're getting longer one by one, aren't they?